Today's fast and dynamic lifestyle has led to a lot of stress, because of which many mental health issues and psychiatric conditions are becoming up. Welcome to another episode of Health Matters, where we will discuss how homeopathy can treat psychiatric conditions with the help of Dr. Archana, who has over 11 years of experience in this field and is very passionate about raising mental health awareness. If you want to know how homeopathy treats your body without any counter effects or side effects, please watch the video.
Hello, Dr. Archana, and welcome to Health Matters. As you know, of late, mental health conversations have begun on a very large platform when you talk about social media, or even there are many news articles about it as well. Uh, with the pandemic being there, a lot of issues of mental health illnesses have come up because people are quarantined and they are in isolation. So, when do you think it is essential for one to kind of reach for a professional help, and what symptoms one needs to identify before actually taking, a professional perspective regarding their mental stability?
Okay. Hello first, and good evening. The question that you asked is very relevant to the current situation. I will say that it's a very good thing that people are now being open to accepting mental illness as a mental illness, something that needs to be taken care of, something that needs, something where they need to seek help. So, and in the current times during the pandemic, the number of mental health illnesses, the people suffering from them, has increased quite a lot, exponentially, I must say. There have been research where we have found that almost 15% of all people who have suffered a quarantine or an isolation, they go into long-lasting anxiety disorders. So, and the thing is, we do not understand when we are beginning with it and when it is proceeding and when we get into a proper illness format. So, the most important thing is when the patient or when that individual starts feeling that something different is going on in his mind, something different which he has never experienced so far, and those thoughts or those emotions have started creating a problem in his daily routine, in his behavior, and because of which his family has also started facing certain issues. The relationships have started going bad. That is when a person should realize that probably there might be an element of some mental illness and should seek help.
I think now that we have identified when one should reach out for help, being a homeopath professional yourself, do you think there is a link between homeopathy and psychiatry? And if there is, then what are the different remedies that you would provide to like any psychiatric conditions?
To answer this question, I would first like to highlight homeopathy. Homeopathy is a science that was discovered by Dr. Samuel Hahnemann in the year 1792. And since then, it is growing well all throughout the world because it has its effectivity. In homeopathy, as a science, what we look forward to is treating the individual and not the individual symptoms or the disease per se. So in case of psychiatry, if we are talking about something like a generalized anxiety disorder, or we are talking about a schizophrenia, it is not that our medicines, the homeopathic medicines, will aim at treating the schizophrenia or the anxiety. It will be for the individual because we believe that it is the symptoms or the presentation that the patient is coming up with is basically an expression of a disease which has started growing inwards, which is there already inside him. And there have been a lot of changes because of which in his functional sphere and at times in the structural sphere as well. Now, when I say functional, I mean the inner feeling state, how he feels, how he behaves, and the structural, by which I mean externally what we can see as a disease is being formed in his body, okay, or in his mind, right? So, likewise, it's not just psychiatry, but each and every stream where homeopathy is extremely effective. And yes, it works beautifully well. Now, considering the remedies, as I said, we are not treating the disease, we are treating the individual. So our medicines, the homeopathic medicines, aim at individualization rather than any sort of anti-psychiatric drugs or anti-hypertensive drugs or anti-diabetic drugs, which is the popular format of medicine available now. So it is not that if two people are suffering from schizophrenia, both of them will be given the same set of medicines. No. Homeopathically, we are going to understand the individuality of the patient and then prescribe for the patient so that the patient becomes capable, his energies, his vital force, it becomes capable of fighting the disease himself. We are just assisting the patient to help himself.
Right. I think as you spoke about individualization of treatment, that actually I have lined up. There is a question relating to that towards the end of the interview. But before that, I would just like to ask, as you are an expert yourself, and so in your opinion, why should you think, like, why a person with a mental condition should opt for a homeopathic treatment?
See, there is a lot of difference and lot of treatments available in outside for any patient to seek help. And it's very good because it's at the end of the day, the choice of the patient, and he has good number of options, right? Homeopathy, why? Because as I said, homeopathy is going to work on his individualization, on he himself. It's not that we are giving medicines to, just to treat, okay? Just that the symptoms go away. We have seen that the current medications that are available in the market, those medications do have a lot of side effects, and they do have a lot of counter effects on the body, along with the effects that help them feel good. But probably as a physician or as an expert, we should not aim at just treating the patient or removing the symptoms. Our aim would be in curing the patient so that the patient can live his life normally like he used to always live. That is where the point of individuality comes in. The second thing why homeopathy medicines work really well in psychiatric cases is because homeopathy medicines, they don't have any side effects like that I told before. And the other thing is, with homeopathy medicines, your system or your brain wires, okay, it's in the very slang language, the way many doctors also refer to psychiatric cases, ki wiring mein kuch kharabi ho gayi hai, right? So it's not that we are treating the wiring or we are treating the plugins and all. It's like we are treating the individual from within so that he can combat his disease. Like I said before, he can combat his disease themselves. Okay, in my practice, I have seen that patients recover really well and completely. There is a complete cure that we find in the patients, and probably those patients, they do not come up with the same illness even in future. Okay, so there is no question like, if we have stopped the medicine, so then what? Are we going to get the symptoms again? Do we have to continue the medicines for a lifetime? No, it's not that with homeopathy.
I think that's very interesting. And as you mentioned that homeopathy aims at treating a patient from within rather than, inculcating external forces. But as you say that, and there are many various studies which even suggest that for homeopathy to actually work, there is something known as the placebo effect, which is very vital. When I talk about placebo effect, I talk about the patient actually wanting to get better. So the patient's efforts to get better is very vital in homeopathy. And what is your opinion on that?
To this, I would like to say the placebo effect, right? That's called the placebo effect. And it's not about homeopathy only. I think this placebo effect is there everywhere. Now, we know of patients, there are a lot of patients who seek medicine. They want medicine. Maybe it's a form of getting attention, right? So they want medicine. So whenever they are visiting a doctor, every doctor for that matter, not only the homeopathic doctor, every doctor for that matter tends to write certain prescriptions and give the patient. Okay, it can be just a calcium, it can be just a vitamin, right? Now, in that particular patient, probably that vitamin doesn't have any role to play, but the patient feels good that, yeah, I have received certain medications. That means I'm sick. That means I can get the attention. And these are a certain hypochondriac, different kinds of patients. Now, why did I bring in this point? Is because a lot of people say that homeopathy works on the placebo effect. Seriously, no, it does not work on the placebo effect. Like every other medication, even homeopathy works on the basis of its own science. Okay. Now, why is homeopathy called as the placebo effect? It's because many a times it is found, and everybody, whoever has done the research on homeopathic medications, they find that there is no amount of medicine present in the medicine bottle because it goes beyond the Avogadro's number, right? But if we study homeopathy and if we go deep and understand, homeopathy is basically an energy science. We will not find any amount of medicine in the bottle of the medication for the simple reason that those medicines are potentized. Now, why this word potentization comes? Everything, every substance has its own medicinal power. Like if we talk about the plant tulsi, each one of us knows about its medicinal powers. If taken in the crude state, it can bring about so better effects. What if we are utilizing its energies? Obviously, the inner energies are going to be more powerful. So by potentization, what I mean is we are processing the tulsi leaf, the tulsi plant, to such an extent that the inner powers become, the inner powers just flourish out, and we use those powers to treat the patient, or rather to cure the patient completely. Now, when we are working at energy level, how can we compare energy with matter? The Avogadro's number is for matter, and we are dealing with energy. Each one of us has our own energies from within. So that is where homeopathic science aims at treating the person from within, from the energy.
Yeah, so like it treats every person regarding to their own energy. So it is a very personalized approach to treatment. Like we were talking throughout our discussion that how individualistic homeopathy exactly actually is.
Yes.
And when we talk about particularly dealing with mental conditions, mental health disorders, do you think this aspect is very necessary?
Of course, it becomes of utmost importance in mental health disorders, because each and every patient who is mentally sick will show a different picture, a different level of illness altogether. Okay. For example, if a person is having something called a common cold, the symptoms are the same. There is going to be a nasal discharge. There's going to be some level of burning here and there. There's going to be eye watery. There might be some throat complaints, and there will be fever, right? There might or might not be fever. These are the complaints of a common cold. But in every psychiatry patient, you wouldn't find the same symptom in any two individuals. Broadly, the symptoms might be the same. Like a schizophrenic person will feel hallucinations, will have their own delusions and illusions, and they will have their own symptoms, but their symptoms will range from a different level, at a different level altogether. Like some person suffering from schizophrenia might hear God talking to him. Another person suffering from a similar schizophrenia might hear the devil talking to them. So, no two patients, no two psychiatry patients will come up with the same symptoms. So, obviously, when the symptoms are different, the individuals are different, the approach has to be totally personalized. And definitely, the medicines will also differ depending on the personality.
Right. And Dr. Archana, that kind of brings me to the end of this beautiful discussion. Personally, I feel that there is so much mental health awareness going on. And in the past years, there are so many treatments, whether you talk about counseling or therapy, bickering up. But I haven't particularly heard about homeopathic treatment for psychiatry. And with health professionals like you, who are spreading awareness about this treatment facility as well, I think we will see a lot of medications and a lot of people actually trying out homeopathy for their mental health conditions because, as you said, it has no side effects. So I think treating yourself and healing yourself from within without having any side effects is like a win-win situation for both.
Very true, very true.
Thank you so much for coming to Health Matters and talking about this topic and helping us spread awareness.
Thank you so much for having me here and helping me take my word out to the people. Thank you so much.
Guys, if you enjoyed the discussion, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also, turn on the bell notifications and comment down any questions related to health and wellness, and we will try to answer it in our next episode.